Folks, this next chess game I'm about to show you is one of the craziest chess games I've ever played in my life. I do play crazy chess, but this really might take the cake. This is a game I played against a 1900 player from Poland on chess.com. It is a blitz game, but still, there's no excuse for how crazy this chess game gets. Trust me. Now, it looks like a normal game on the surface. From the start, it is a normal game, and we're both playing very good, principled, normal chess. Okay? In fact, here I actually I'm able to slightly outplay my opponent, push him back. I get a spatial advantage. I'm doing okay. I'm developing my pieces. Everything is normal. Everything is basically going along the way the plan. Everything is going. If I was going to teach my, tell my chess students what to do in a typical chess game, this is what I'd want. Like, develop your pieces, gain space, protect your king, all that stuff. However, unfortunately, things are about to get a little crazy, or fortunately, for entertainment purposes. Here I play h2. Now, knight h2 is a common motif in this type of closed position, because what you want to do is you want to play f4. So basically, I play f4 here, and if your opponent doesn't take, then you just play f5, and you have a really huge lead in space. So your opponent has to take, and then in this case, in this game, I develop my bishop, and also I get my rook on an open file, so that's why that is a common motif in these closed positions. Knight h2 followed by f4 breaks. Okay, so my opponent plays knight e5. Again, this is an excellent way to go. Great, he's attacking my queen. I have to chop that knight off. It's a strong knight. And I blunder here. I move my knight to e2, which gives up a pawn for no reason. Now, my idea was I wanted to reroute the knight to f5 eventually, but I just forgot that the pawn was hanging. And my opponent, he could just take the pawn here. Now, it's not the end of the world, but still, why lose a pawn, especially a pawn in the center of the board? So my opponent, for some reason, missed that and played h5. I'm like, okay. So I play g4. And g4 is enticing my opponent to come to f4 because I figured that's what he wanted to do anyway. But now I'm just like speeding up the process. I'm saying, like, what are you doing? Make your move, show your cards, So he goes to f4, and there I take. I play queen f3 because I want to stop this pawn from encroaching later on. And I figured this was a good idea to do this because now that this pawn is on f4 and not on e5, I have a stronger center, and maybe I can push the pawns up later on in the game. Well, here's where the game takes a wild and crazy turn and does not come back from Crazyville after this game. The game just keeps on getting crazier and crazier. So here I just develop my rook. My opponent starts sinking his bishop into my position, and I play c5. Now, c5 is not a good move, and you're going to see why it's really not a good move, but I'm going to show you my idea here. My opponent takes, and I just lost a pawn. Now, my thinking why I play that is I'm going to take the pawn. Now, you might be saying, well, this gives up a bishop. Well, I saw that, and I said, I'm going to give up a bishop, but I'm a genius because I have these connected pass pawns, and I'm going to push them, and I'm going to win a piece back with interest because now I have all these pawns, and I have a pass pawn. So I thought I was going to win a piece back because I'm attacking the queen and the bishop, and I disconnected them. The problem is it doesn't work. I forgot that my king is exposed because I played f4. Usually I have a pawn here. So my opponent just stepped out of the way from the attack because he's 1900 and he's like, why are you giving away your pieces for no reason? And then he's like, yeah, I know how to play chess. So I'm going to now I'm going to move my queen. And now both my pieces are no longer attacked. I'm up a piece. And by the way, I'm forcing you to trade queens with me. So that's a good move because when we're down material, we want as much material on the board, especially queens, because we want to mix up the game and we want to give ourselves the best chances to stay in the game. So here I had to take. And then after that, I just took the pawn. So I figured I'll take a pawn. I was going to resign, but the only reason why I stayed in this game is because I have a passed pawn. I figured, hey, why not mix things up? I also have a knight, and knights, in blitz games and in time pressure can throw off your opponent. Also, my opponent played this. And I noticed from my pattern recognition part of chess, from playing chess for so long, that when the bishops are together like this, you could fork them by attacking them vertically, which is what I did. The problem is he just steps out of the way and forks both of my rooks. So I should have saw that, but I didn't. I took, and now he's even up more material. So he's up a full rook in this position, but I do have that passed pawn, and I have a knight, and knights tend to be crazy. So I actually just brought my knight into the game and said, let's see what happens. My opponent brings his rook into the game. I start bringing my king into the game because we're going towards the end game. I want my king not to get trapped in the corner. I want it to be free. And my opponent here takes a pawn. And here I play knight d4, attacking c6. Now, I'm threatening to win that pawn on c6, but it's not just your ordinary pawn. If I take that pawn, let's say he plays like a random move, and I take that pawn, now this is already passed. This is also passed. So now I have two passed pawns that are connected. Black is still winning, but boy, is that hard to defend, especially in time pressure. So my opponent correctly plays c8, defending the pawn. However, what did I play here? I took the pawn anyway. Yes, I know. Now, this is not the best move, believe it or not. And it doesn't look like it. But it really threw off my opponent. Now, the best move is to take, which is what my opponent did. He's like, why does this guy keep on giving me all his pieces? He's probably a little confused right now, which I'm sure you guys are confused too. And I promise you, I don't play, I know this is crazy, but I'm not crazy, okay? I actually am a good chess player. I'm above 2,200 on chess.com. I play in chess tournaments in New York City and play chess all over, and I've been playing chess for a long time. But hear me out. I have a passed pawn, and my opponent has some back rank issues. And now I have two passed pawns that are connected. So I figured, why not put my opponent in a tough spot? And this would. And eventually it did, because my follow-up, d7, looks like it's winning. Now it's not winning. But it looks like, at the very least, it gives my opponent a lot of problems. And this is what I mean when I say, when you're losing a chess game, you want to mix things up and you want to complicate the position. Why do you want to complicate the position? Because now you're making your opponent play against the game of chess. Not necessarily you, because even if he has a better position, a winning position, he has to find the best moves in that position if the position gets complicated. And now he has to play against the game of chess, a far better opponent than myself. What do I mean by that? Well, Black is winning here, but has to play a series of correct moves. He plays the first one right. He gets behind my passed pawn. Now, he has to get behind my passed pawn. That's what you want to do on offense and defense. You want to get behind the passed pawns. So he does. The problem is I play b5. I keep on marching along. Now my opponent plays bishop e3. That's fine. And after this, my opponent plays the losing move. Again, my opponent's in a winning position, but I complicated the position and made the game really difficult for him to throw him off. And now he has to play like excellent moves, back to back, back to back to back to back to back, to prove that he has a winning position. So here, my opponent actually should just take on d7. And then when I take the rook, you might be thinking you have to blockade these passed pawns, but then that would drop the bishop and I would have a winning position here. His best move, actually, after taking, and I take on c6, is to play rook e7. That defends the bishop and sets up a discovery. So now if I try to push in queen, he doesn't take Because remember, I'll take and I'll be winning. He just takes with check, and when I move out of the way, then he takes, and by the way, defends his bishop. That's a hard series of moves to find, especially in blitz. So here, my opponent did not do that. He took. Now again, here, if I take the rook, he just simply takes back with the bishop. I take the rook, and he's totally winning. There's nothing I can do. But after he took, I correctly took this rook, and now I'm attacking his bishop. I'm threatening to queen, which is checkmate. So my opponent checked me and went for the pawn. The problem is he drops his bishop, and I'm threatening checkmate. So if he takes the pawn, he gets checkmated. So he played g6. However, now I just queen. And here my opponent resigned in this position. Anyway, hopefully you learned something from that video. I'm not sure exactly what, but I hope there's a few things you can take away from it. Anyway, hopefully it was entertaining for you guys. And if you liked that video, check out this one. Catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.